The massive chamber of the Galactic Council stretched beyond sight, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. Representatives from 57 species filled the tiered seats, their various forms creating a tapestry of alien life. At the center stood Commander Vex of the Dominion Empire, his forearms spread wide as he addressed the assembly. For 3,000 cycles, the Dominion has protected this galaxy, Vex declared, his voice carrying through universal translators. Our fleet of 10,000 warships maintains order. Our plasma cannons can crack moons. Our shields can withstand the heat of stars. We are the supreme military force in known space. The other species murmured their agreement. The small, furry traders nodded enthusiastically. The crystalline builders flashed colors of approval. Even the ancient watchers, beings of pure energy, pulsed in acknowledgement. And now, Vex continued, his reptilian features twisting into what his species considered a smile. We have discovered a new species on the edge of the galaxy. They call themselves humans, a single-planet species with primitive nuclear weapons and basic space travel. They have requested membership in the Council. Laughter rippled through the chamber. The warrior clan representative, a massive insectoid named Krax, stood up. One planet? How many ships do they possess? Our scouts report approximately 200 vessels, Vex replied. Mostly cargo ships and scientific explorers. Their military fleet consists of perhaps 30 ships. More laughter. The trader's ambassador, a creature named Pip, squeaked in amusement. 30 ships? The Dominion has that many just patrolling a single trade route. Indeed, Vex said, raising all 4 arms for silence. However, Council law states we must test any new species before admission. One proposed we demonstrate our superiority with a simple military exercise. One of our destroyer squadrons against their entire fleet. It will be educational for them. The vote was unanimous. Every species agreed that humanity needed to learn its place in the galactic hierarchy. 3 days later, Ambassador James Walker stood before the same council. He was unremarkable by galactic standards. 2 arms, 2 legs, no natural weapons or armor. His species' skin was soft, their teeth dull, their senses limited. He wore a simple gray uniform with Earth's blue marble insignia on his chest. The Council has voted, Vex announced, looking down at the human with barely concealed disdain. Humanity may join, but first, you must participate in a military exercise. This will determine your standing and protection level within our alliance. Walker nodded slowly. We accept. What are the terms? Simple, Krax chittered. Your fleet against one of our destroyer squadrons. 20 ships. Non-lethal weapons only. We'll use training rounds and powered-down energy weapons. The exercise ends when one side surrenders or loses all combat capability. I see, Walker said. His expression remained neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. And if we decline? Then humanity remains outside Council protection, Vex stated. Any species may claim your system, your resources, your people. Walker was quiet for a moment. The entire Council leaned forward, expecting fear, perhaps begging. Instead, the human smiled. It was a strange expression that made several species uncomfortable. We accept, Walker said, but we have one request. May we bring just 1 ship? Our newest battleship. It seems unfair to bring our entire fleet against only 20 of your vessels. The chamber erupted in laughter. Vex's scales rippled with mirth. 1 ship against 20? You may bring whatever you wish, human. The exercise begins in 7 rotations. As Walker left the chamber, the Council members continued their amusement. The builders created holographic simulations showing a single human ship being vaporized. In seconds, the traders began taking bets, not on who would win, but on how many seconds the human ship would last. Only the watchers remained silent, their energy forms flickering with something that might have been concern. They had observed the universe for eons, and they had learned one truth. The most dangerous predators often look the most harmless dot in the depths of space. A message reached Earth. Admiral Maria Torres read it twice, then smiled the same unsettling smile Walker had shown the Council. "Prep the Vengeance," she ordered. "Time to introduce ourselves properly." The designated battle zone lay empty between two dead stars, a vast sphere of space 50 light-minutes across. The Dominion destroyer squadron arrived first, 20 sleek vessels each 300 meters long, their purple hulls gleaming with energy shields. They moved in perfect formation, a testament to 3 millennia of military tradition. Commander Vex watched from the Council observation station, a massive structure safely positioned outside the combat zone. Representatives from all member species had gathered to witness what they expected to be a quick lesson in humility for the newcomers. "Dominion squadron is in position," reported the tactical officer. "No sign of the human vessel." "They're probably having second thoughts," Krax chittered. "One ship against 20? Even their primitive minds must realize." He stopped mid-sentence. Every sensor in the observation station screamed alerts simultaneously. Space itself seemed to tear open. A massive distortion appeared at the edge of the battle zone, gravitational waves rippling outward. From the distortion emerged a ship that defied expectations. The human battleship Vengeance stretched 2 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull was not the smooth, elegant design favored by Council species, but a brutal architecture of angles. And armor. Weapons ports lined every surface. Sensor arrays bristled like thorns. The entire vessel was painted void black, except for one detail, a roaring lion emblazoned on its side, Earth's ancient symbol of war. That's impossible." Vex breathed. "Our scouts said their largest ships were only 400 meters. In the battle zone, Squadron Leader Czar stood frozen on his bridge. His destroyer suddenly felt very small. "Sir," his weapons officer stammered, "I'm reading. I can't. The energy output from that thing is equivalent to a small star." The human battleship moved forward slowly, deliberately. It broadcast a single message on all frequencies. "This is Captain David Stone of the Earthship Vengeance. We are ready to begin the exercise when you are." Czar recovered his composure. Size didn't always mean victory. "All ships, attack formation Alpha. Concentrate fire on their engines. A ship that big can't be maneuverable." The 20 destroyers spread out, approaching from multiple angles. They opened fire simultaneously, training lasers and depowered plasma, bolts streaking through space in a devastating crossfire that would have overwhelmed any Council ship. The Vengeance didn't move. It didn't need to. The attacks hit a barrier 10 meters from the ship's hull and simply stopped. Energy weapons dispersed harmlessly. Kinetic rounds hung frozen in space before dissolving into component atoms. "What kind of shields are those?" Pip squeaked from the observation deck. The human battleship's response was swift and precise. Ports opened along its hull, revealing weapons humanity had developed in secret for 50 years. Not plasma cannons or laser arrays, but something far more dangerous: gravity manipulation weapons. 20 invisible fists of distorted spacetime reached out. Each destroyer found itself caught in a localized gravitational field that held it perfectly still. Engines strained uselessly against the fundamental forces of the universe. "We can't move," Czar shouted. "All power to engines." "It's not working, sir. It's like space itself is holding us." The Vengeance fired its second wave. Magnetic acceleration. Cannons launched rounds that phased in and out of normal space, bypassing shields entirely. The training rounds were non-lethal, as agreed, but they demonstrated a point. Each shot appeared inside a destroyer's shield bubble, striking precisely at weapon systems and engines. Within 30 seconds, all 20 destroyers were disabled and helpless. The observation station fell silent. 57 species stared in shock at the tactical display. The mighty Dominion Squadron, pride of 3,000 years of military development, hung powerless in space. Captain Stone's voice broke the silence. Exercise complete. Do you yield? Tsar had no choice. We yield. The gravitational fields released. The destroyers drifted, powerless but intact, their crews unharmed but humiliated. How? Vex demanded, turning to Ambassador Walker, who had been standing quietly in the corner of the observation deck. Walker stepped forward. You asked how many ships we have. You never asked the right questions. How long have we been watching you? How long have we been preparing? What did we learn from observing your technologies through our telescopes and probes? He paused, letting the words sink in. Humanity has been listening to your communications for 200 years. We knew about the Council before you knew about US. We knew that eventually we would need to prove ourselves. So we built accordingly. The humans smiled again, and this time every species recognized it for what it was, the expression of an apex predator. Asterisk. The council chamber had never been so quiet. Ambassador Walker stood at the center, but this time no one looked down at him with disdain. Every eye, sensor, and energy field was focused on the human with a mixture of fear and newfound respect. You deceived us, Vex accused, though his voice lacked its former authority. Your scouts, your transmissions, everything indicated a primitive civilization. We showed you what you expected to see, Walker replied calmly. Every new species you've encountered followed the same pattern. Develop spaceflight, broadcast their presence, build obvious military forces. You've become complacent, assuming every species evolves the same way. He activated a holographic display showing Earth's history. Humanity evolved differently. We spent 10,000 years perfecting war against ourselves before we ever looked to the stars. When we detected your first transmissions 2 centuries ago, we made a choice. We would not announce ourselves. We would watch, learn, and prepare. The display showed hidden facilities on Earth's moon, Mars, and the asteroid belt. Massive construction yards building ships in hollowed-out asteroids, invisible to long-range sensors. Every piece of technology you broadcast, every military doctrine. You discussed, every weakness you revealed. We studied it all, Walker continued. Your shields are impressive, but they operate on predictable frequencies. Your weapons are powerful, but they follow known physics. You've been at peace so long, you've forgotten how to adapt. Crax slammed his clawed appendage on his podium. This is outrageous. You speak of deception and trickery, not honorable warfare. Captain Stone's voice suddenly filled the chamber, transmitted from the Vengeance. Honorable warfare? Let me tell you about human warfare, Bug. The main screen activated, showing historical footage from Earth. Images of human conflicts flashed by, ancient battles with swords and spears, trench warfare, nuclear explosions, cyber attacks. We fought in every environment, Stone narrated. Land, sea, air, space, and even cyberspace. We've used every weapon imaginable. Rocks, blades, chemicals, atoms, and information itself. We don't fight for honor. We fight to win. The footage shifted to show human military doctrine. You fight in formation, following 1,000-year-old traditions. We learned that tradition gets you killed. You announce your attacks. We master ambush. You follow rules. We write new ones. The screen now showed technical specifications that made the Council scientists gasp. Your gravity weapons, the builder. Representative flashed urgently. They're based on theoretical physics we deemed impossible. You deemed them impossible because they were dangerous to develop, Walker said. Humanity spent 50 years and lost 3 research stations perfecting them. We considered that an acceptable cost. And there's more, Stone added. What you saw today was one ship using 10% of its capabilities. We have 12 more like the Vengeance, and 40 smaller battlecruisers you haven't detected. Our colony ships, they're armed. Our cargo vessels, they can deploy fighter drones. Even our scientific explorers carry weapons that could crack a small moon. The Watchers finally spoke, their energy forms pulsing with ancient wisdom. You prepared for war while speaking of peace. Why reveal this now? Walker's expression softened. Slightly. Because we don't want war. Humanity has seen enough conflict. We want to join the galactic community, to trade, to learn, to explore together. But we needed you to understand, we are not prey. We are not subjects to be conquered. We are equals. He paused, looking at each species representative. The Council has maintained peace through superior firepower. The Dominion fleet keeps order because no one can challenge it. But what happens when that's no longer true? What happens when the next new species arrives, one that might not be as reasonable as humanity? Vex's scales had turned pale. You're suggesting... I'm suggesting the galaxy needs to evolve, Walker said. The Council needs humanity, not as another protected species, but as a partner. Our military doctrine, combined with your technologies. Our adaptability, merged with your stability. Together, we can face whatever comes from beyond our galaxy. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some species called for immediate alliance with humanity. Others demanded restrictions on human military expansion. The traders saw opportunity, the warriors saw threat, and the builders saw potential. Through it all, the Watchers observed silently. They had seen empires rise and fall, species evolve and extinct. In humanity, they saw something unique, a species that had mastered war so thoroughly they might actually be capable of maintaining peace. But they also saw something else, something that concerned them. Humanity had hidden its true nature. For 2 centuries, what else were they hiding? Asterisk 3 months had passed since the exercise. The Council had voted to admit humanity as a full member, though the debates had been fierce. Now, the human embassy on the Council station bustled with activity as Earth's diplomats and traders established relationships with other species. But not everyone was pleased. In the shadow regions of the galaxy, where the Council's influence barely reached, a different conversation was taking place. The Void Hunters, a confederation of pirate clans and rogue states, had watched the human demonstration with interest. Their leader, Warlord Rax, stood before his assembled captains. Unlike the Council species, the Void Hunters had never stopped fighting. They raided trade routes, conquered weak systems, and sold entire populations into slavery. The Council grows soft, Rax growled, his cybernetic enhancements gleaming in the dim light. They welcome these humans, impressed by one ship's performance against training exercises. But we are not the Dominion fleet. We don't fight with rules and restrictions. His lieutenant, a scarred creature called Hex, leaned forward. The humans have shown their hand. Gravity weapons, phasing ammunition, 12 battleships. We know their capabilities now. And they don't know ours, Rax agreed. The Council thinks they're the only power in the galaxy. They don't know about our dark matter torpedoes, our mind slave technology, our fleet of 500 converted warships. The pirates had been building their strength for decades, waiting for the right moment to challenge the Council. The arrival of humanity had disrupted the balance of power, creating opportunity in chaos. Send a message to the human embassy, Rax commanded. Challenge them to a real fight. No rules, No restrictions, no mercy. If they refuse, we broadcast their cowardice across the galaxy. If they accept, he grinned, revealing teeth replaced with titanium fangs. We show the galaxy that humanity bleeds like everyone else. The challenge arrived during a council session. Walker read it aloud, his expression grave. The Void Hunters demand a trial by combat. Their entire fleet against whatever forces humanity chooses to bring. The location, the Deadlands, a region of space where no laws apply. The council erupted in alarm. Vex stood quickly. You cannot accept. The Void Hunters don't fight with honor. They use biological weapons, mind control, tactics banned by civilized species. If you refuse, Pip added nervously, they'll use it as propaganda. They'll claim humanity hides behind the council's protection. Walker looked at the message again. They've made this public, haven't they? Every criminal organization, every rogue state, every species considering rebellion is watching. Yes, the Watchers confirmed. This is more than a challenge. It's a test of the new order. If humanity falls, the Council's authority crumbles. If humanity wins decisively, we become the new military backbone of the Council, Walker finished. He touched his earpiece, listening to a message from Earth. His face remained neutral, but something shifted in his posture. Earth has decided. We accept. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Cracks stood in shock. You're insane. The Void Hunters have 500 ships. They've been pirates for centuries. Admiral Torres will lead our response, Walker continued calmly. She requests any intelligence the Council can provide about Void Hunter tactics and technology. Over the next week, the galaxy watched as both fleets moved toward the Deadlands. The Void Hunters made no attempt to hide their numbers. 500 ships of various sizes and origins, all heavily modified with illegal weapons. They broadcast threats and boasts, showing videos of their previous victories, the worlds they had burned. Humanity sent 20 ships. 20? Rax laughed. When he heard, they bring 20 ships against 500? The humans are either brave or stupid. What Rax didn't know was that Admiral Torres had spent her entire career studying asymmetric warfare. She had written Earth's military doctrine: never fight fair, never fight the enemy's battle, and never reveal your true capabilities until absolutely necessary. The human fleet that entered the Deadlands consisted of the Vengeance, 3 battle cruisers, and 16 ships that appeared to be modified cargo vessels. They moved in a loose formation, seemingly unprepared for the ambush that awaited them. The Void Hunters struck from 3 directions simultaneously, emerging from hidden positions behind dead planets and asteroid fields. 500 ships opened. Fire with everything they had. Dark matter torpedoes that could phase through shields. Bioweapons that could eat through hull metal. Mind-slave beams designed to turn crews against each other. The human fleet's response would be remembered for generations as the moment the galaxy learned why Earth's children were the most dangerous species in the stars. Asterisk. The Void Hunters' attack should have been devastating. 500 ships firing simultaneously created a storm of destruction that lit up the Deadlands. Dark matter torpedoes phased through space. Bioweapons spread like hungry clouds, and Mindslave. Beams swept across the human formation. For a moment, it seemed like the humans had made a fatal mistake. Then Admiral Torres spoke a single word: execute. The 16 cargo vessels exploded, not in destruction, but in transformation. Their hull plates flew apart, revealing not cargo holds, but massive deployment bays. From each ship, a swarm emerged. 50,000 drones, each no larger than a fighter craft, spread across space like a metallic plague. They moved with perfect coordination, an artificial intelligence network that thought and reacted as one entity. What in the void? Rax began, but his words were cut short as his tactical display went insane. The drones didn't fight conventionally. They attached to Void Hunter ships like parasites, drilling through holes with molecular disassemblers. They projected localized EMP fields that fried systems. They formed larger constructs, combining into massive weapons platforms that fired and dissolved before counterattacks could target them. But that was just the beginning. The 3 battlecruisers revealed their true nature. They weren't battlecruisers at all, but specialized warfare platforms humanity had developed in secret. The first was a cyber warfare ship that reached into the void, Hunter Fleet's communications, and turned their own systems against them. Pirates watched in horror as their weapons targeted their allies. Their engines flew them into asteroids. Their life support systems began producing poison instead of air. The second battlecruiser deployed something the galaxy had never seen: nanobotic clouds that spread through space, consuming matter at the molecular level and converting it into more nanobots. Every Void Hunter ship they touched began dissolving, their crews frantically abandoning vessels that were being eaten alive. The third revealed humanity's darkest weapon, a quantum destabilizer that created pockets of space where the laws of physics temporarily broke down. Ships caught in these pockets found their atoms refusing to hold together, their crews existing in multiple states simultaneously before collapsing into probability. And through it all, the vengeance moved forward like an ancient god of war, its gravity weapons reaching out to crush ships into singularities smaller than atoms. Warlord Rax watched his fleet disappearing, not being defeated, disappearing. In 5 minutes, he had lost 200 ships. In 10 minutes, 350. "Retreat," he screamed. "All ships retreat." But retreat was impossible. The drone swarm had formed a sphere around the entire battle zone. Any ship that tried to flee was immediately swarmed and disabled. Admiral Torres appeared on every screen in both fleets. She was an older woman with gray hair and cold eyes that had seen too much war. "You wanted to see humanity's true face," she said quietly. "We tried to be civilized. We tried to join peacefully, but you insisted on violence." She paused, looking directly at Rex. "We are the species that split the atom before we conquered our own planet. We created artificial intelligence while still fighting with chemical weapons. We decoded our own genome while millions starved. We are a paradox, capable of incredible creation and terrible destruction, often at the same time." The nanobotic clouds paused their consumption, hovering ominously around the remaining Void Hunter ships. "Surrender," Torres commanded, "or we will demonstrate why Earth's first message to the stars wasn't hello. It was a warning." Rex had no choice. His mighty fleet of 500 ships had been reduced to less than 50 in under 15 minutes. We surrender." The drones immediately pulled back, forming neat formations. The nanoclouds dissipated. The quantum destabilizer powered down. The cyber attacks ceased, but the message had been sent out in the council chambers. Silence reigned. Every species had watched the battle through long-range sensors. They had seen humanity not just win, but completely redefine what warfare meant. The Watchers spoke first. "You could have done this to the Dominion fleet." "Yes," Walker admitted. "You could conquer the entire council." "Yes, but you choose not." T.O. "Yes." Walker stood before them all, his expression serious. "Humanity learned something from our thousands of years of war. True strength isn't in conquest. It's in having the power to destroy everything and choosing to build instead." He looked at each representative. "We want to explore the stars with you. We want to trade, to learn, to grow together. But everyone needs to understand we are not asking for permission. We are offering partnership." The vote was unanimous. Humanity was granted full membership with unprecedented military authority. As the council dispersed, the Watchers lingered. They had observed the universe for eons, seen countless species rise and fall. In humanity, they saw something unique, a species that had evolved through conflict to understand both creation and destruction intimately. The galaxy would never be the same dot, and in the depths of space, 12 more human battleships powered down their weapons and returned to hidden bases, their true capabilities still unrevealed. After all, humanity had learned long ago, always keep something in reserve, because the universe was vast, and somewhere out there, something might be watching Earth the same way. Earth had watched the Council. The Predators had announced themselves. EPI-LOGUN. Year later, when the first extragalactic invaders appeared at the galaxy's edge, it was humanity's fleet that met them. The Council watched as Earth's children did what they did best: adapt, overcome, and protect their new home among the knee. Stars dot the age of humanity had begun. The end asterisk.